All right, today we're gonna be canning things, but in order for me to get ready for this, I already got my pot over here on the stove with water. Got some vinegar. I'm gonna dump some vinegar in the pot with the water. That'll keep my glass jars from getting all foggy. I got some oil here. I'm gonna just put like a little thin layer of oil on this gasket. That way it'll seal up really well. You wanna do all this before you start canning so everything is ready to go. All right, so today we're gonna can some stew meat. And I'm gonna put onions in the bottom of the jars, along with some salt. When this is completely cooked and the jars are completely sealed, we're gonna be able to shred it up and use it for tostada meat or just like this as a stew meat. As soon as I pull my jars out, I'll show you what's going on. All right, so I've got the onions all chopped up. I've got a small layer of onions in the bottom. It's just there for taste. And I'm just taking this roast that we've chopped up into like chunks, and I am stuffing it down here, and I am raw packing these. So these are not cooked. As soon as I get them all packed up, I'll be right back. All right, so I got these packed, and I have taken my little thingy, which tells you the headspace, but I've taken and rammed it down as much as I can so I can get as many air bubbles out as I can. Trying my best. And to this, each one of these, since I want to add a little salt, but not a lot. I'm going to add like maybe a half a teaspoon to each one, or half a tablespoon to each top. You don't have to add fluid to these, any liquid or water or boiling water. Since these are raw packed, the meat will make its own broth. So I'm gonna wipe off the tops of these with a little bit of vinegar. I'm gonna just go around the tops and make sure that they're all clean. And then I've got my jar lids over here just warming up. They say you don't have to, but it does warm the seal up a little before I stick these on and put the rings on. All right, so I'm down to my last jar here. What I'm doing is I'm just rubbing. I wanna make sure the rim gets super clean, dried off, clean, nothing is stuck on it. I ended up putting a half a teaspoon of salt. Let me throw my lid. Ow. You should get the magnet things. Don't grab these like I just did. And I don't have a lid. Screw lid. Let me grab this. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this on finger tight. So that's what it looks like. I've pushed out as much of the air as I can. And then they're all going to go down into my canner. And I'm gonna close the lid and let this get up to a boil till it starts blowing a steam. All right, on my particular canner, it has arrows on the one handle and an arrow on the lid. What you wanna do is just slide this. You'll hear it click. There's a safety feature here. There's a safety feature here. This right here is what's gonna blow the steam at a steady rate for about 10 minutes. I have my 10-pound weight I'll put on top of that as soon as it does that. Well, I'll wait till the 10 minutes is up and then I'll stick that on there. And then I wanna keep it at least 10 to 11 pounds of pressure the whole time I'm cooking it. All right, so you can see it's blowing steam. It's on medium to high, so I'm gonna let it blow for about 10 minutes and then I'm gonna put the weight on it. And you can see I'm still getting a little steam through all the other safety features, but once I put the weight on there, this will all quit. It'll build up the pressure I need. All right, so it's been 10 minutes. I'm gonna take my weight and put it on there. And I'm just gonna make sure that the heat, I may have to turn it down a little if it gets to jiggling too much, but got the weight on there. And now we are gonna cook this. Since this is meat, according to the recommendation, it is 75 minutes. So I'm gonna cook this for 75 minutes, and then I'll turn the heat off and let it cool down until there's no pressure left in the canner. So this thing is hit pressure. See that little red button there? Popped up and started to jiggle. Now it's gonna do this for the entire time. I'm gonna turn it down just a little so it maintains this steady kind of jiggling. Alrighty, so I already pulled it out. Everything's already sealed. And I'm just letting it cool before I put it in the pantry. But there you go, roast. All right, so in my sink, I have a whole bunch of carrots. We're gonna can carrots today. And I'm gonna take you along as I do it. First off, I wanna wash these carrots off really good, and then I'm going to cut them up. All right, so as I'm slicing them, I'm sticking them in my jars. My jars are already cleaned and sanitized. I'm just not cooking these at all. What I'm gonna do when I get to the point where I'm getting ready to put it in my pressure canner, I'm going to boil some water and fill these up to about a half inch from the head space. So, and I'll take this and I'm going to push all the air bubbles out. But today I'm making sweet carrots, so I will be adding brown sugar to the top of each one of these jars, so these carrots will be sweet. Carrots have a lot of sugar content anyway, but this is going to make them a little sweeter. Some people have put maple syrup on these and then canned them, which makes them really good. I'm doing them in the little pint jars just because it's just me and my husband, and I really don't want to put them in the big quart jars and have so much left over. This way we can just eat them a little at a time. All right, so into my jars of carrots that I've already cut up, just gonna put some brown sugar in each one of them. So when I've got boiling water here that I'm gonna dump in there. I'm getting the canner right now up to boiling. That way everything's hot when it goes in. So as soon as I start dumping the water in this, I'll show you what else we're doing. All right, so now my water, turned it off, it's boiling. I'm just gonna fill my jar up. And I don't wanna go all the way to the top. You want to make sure all my bubbles are out. And I don't see any, but I do have to top it off a little bit more to bring the water up to the top, right about there. You grab a lid, turn this off. Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so before you put the lid on, you want to wipe the rim off. Remember, this is boiling water that we just stuck in there, so be careful. Put the lid on, screw it on, finger tight, and then I'm going to just stick it in here. And we're just going to repeat that with all the other jars. All right, so I got everything down in there. I'm just waiting for the water to boil. Then I'll put the lid on there, and then we'll wait for it to blow steam. That way everything's coming up at the same temperature all at one time. I did put a little bit of vinegar down in the water so my jars don't get all cloudy. All right, so you can see the water starting to boil. Now I'm just gonna throw my lid on there and seal it. All right, so now that I've got it sealed and closed, I'm gonna wait until it starts blowing steam, and then I'm going to let it blow the steam for about 10 minutes. And then we'll put the 10-pound weight on it and cook it for 40 minutes. All right, so my carrots have been pulled out. They've cooled off. They've all pinged, so they're all sealed. And they look beautiful. Next up, potatoes. All right, so with my potatoes, I've got them in the sink. I'm gonna wash them. Potatoes you kind of want to move fast with because I am not cooking these. I'm not going to blanch them. You can blanch them for 2 to 10 minutes before you put them in your jars. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out any bad spots and then cube them up and then stick them in my jars with boiling water and then put them in my canner, which I've also got heated up to a boil. And then we're going to put the lid on as soon as the canner's boiling. All Alright, same as with my carrots, but I'm moving a little bit faster with the potatoes because they will turn brown on you if you don't. I put a little bit of salt in these, just about half a teaspoon. Now I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to add my thing on here. I'm going to add boiling water to this. Almost up to the top. Okay, same, I want to make sure that I get all the bubbles out. I make this, tap it a little. I have my little stick here that I go down the sides. Okay, see how the water level went down? So I'm just going to top that off to about ½ inch from the top, making sure all the potatoes are covered. I'm going to take my lid and sit it there for a second because it's quite hot. Now this is just a towel with some vinegar on it. I'm going to clean the lids off. You always want to clean your lids off. Make sure that there's nothing on the rims of them. And then you're going to put your screw top on there, just finger tight. And you're going to put it in your canner, which is starting to boil. So basically we're bringing this all up to a boil. Everything's going to start at the same temperature. Alright, so this is just now starting to boil. I'm going to throw the lid on and wait for the steam to blow out the top. Lid's on, ready to go. Alright, same with the other ones. I let it blow steam for 10 minutes. Got my 10-pound weight. I'm going to stick it on there. And then we are going to let this cook for 40 minutes. So there you go. Potatoes, carrots, and roast all in one weekend.